This podcast intro, songs AI. It's on YouTube and Spotify. You can use your ears or use your eyes. It's 30 minutes randomized.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of 30 Minutes Randomized. I'm here today with a new friend, a new homie, who still hasn't accepted my LinkedIn request, Patrick Mizer, the CTO of LedgerRun. How's it going, Patrick?
Really well, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. The sweating from my run down to my neighbor's house to pick up a package notwithstanding. Can you, before we just get rolling, orient folks who are listening to like what you're doing, where you're working, just so they have a sense like of your answers, like what the context is for your answers?
Yeah, happy to. So Patrick Mizer, I'm the Chief Technology Officer at LedgerRun. LedgerRun, we write software that facilitates clinical trial payments between sponsors, CROs, and the sites that conduct clinical trials.
Sick. And how long have you been there?
About a year and a half. A year and a half at LedgerRun, also relatively new to the clinical ops space. But had the benefit of working with a lot of folks that have decades worth of experience within LedgerRun, but I spent the last 20 years or so working in technology across various sectors in SaaS.
Cool. I am a former outsider. I think I've been around long enough that I count as an insider now, but I was new to the industry about 7 years ago, and yeah, it's a wild ride. All right, we're gonna start spinning the question wheel and see how it goes. All right. Hey, this is perfect. All right. So from the outside, like I don't work at the site level and haven't really spent a lot of time there. It seems like paying research sites should be a solved issue. Why isn't it?
I think it's a great question. And when I first got into the industry, I asked the question directly to our founder at the time: is hey, the site did the work. Just pay them. What's the problem? And what I've uncovered is a couple of things. I think one, there's a lot more complexity in the space than would necessarily meet the eye. I think that while there's been a lot of billions of dollars spent in R&D in certain areas of clinical research, whether that's recruiting, EDC, decentralized trials, AI, the feeling that exists within LedgerRun and our customers is that site payments has kind of become this place that's been somewhat mundane and a little bit left behind from a technological perspective. And then the complexity itself, right? I mean, you think about while visit payments have largely been, operational or automated a little bit with EDC and other bits in which we can kind of understand the activity happened and pay folks. A lot of these things are still coming through invoiceables, and in fact, internally within our customers, about 60% of the time that our customers, our internal ops team are spending kind of going through the payment effort, they're doing this like by manually processing invoices, like sites doing things and then having to manually sort of email or put into a portal somewhere that something occurred. And then even within the visit payment stuff itself, right? You have different protocol rules, you have different sponsor rules, you have global banking, tax, currency. The concept of multi-payee as these studies are growing from a globalization standpoint. It really hit me like a ton of bricks being new to the industry when I sat down once and someone walked me through, there's a Polish site running research with a German lab on behalf of a American sponsor or through a global CRO, right? Just all that complexity compounds, which I think makes something like we started off with, right? Like the site did the work, just pay them. There's just a huge amount of complexity on that. And like I said, an area that hasn't got some of the investment that other areas.
Yeah, that's fair. I think sexy topics get the money first, so it makes sense. Right. All right. I think like one of the things that I have heard, even though it's not my backyard totally, is like speed of payments. So like a lot of people on the site level will be kind of on LinkedIn, like pay us our money. When people complain about slow payments, is there something that usually gets blamed that isn't actually the root issue?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I wish I could speak more to that to that specific topic. I mean, the area that we've been focused on a ton is the invoiceable side of that, right? And I'm not sure if that's what's leading to the. I think a lot of the area that I've been focusing on personally as CTO has been less about the delayed payments. I think, not to toot our own horn, but I think LedgerRun as a tool, that's why people buy us is, with us in place, we make payments happen on time. I think a lot of the issue that we're dealing with is how much sort of manual error-prone labor is going in to make those payments on time. So while I can't speak directly to maybe some of the root causes there, someone like a Kevin or a Holly from my organization could. We've been spending a lot of time now that we have the technology solution in place that allows those payments to happen on time, how we reduce operational burden for our customers and remove some of the headaches that exist around getting those payments paid on time to clinical research sites.
Got it. Yeah, I will say, just independent observer. I did text a few site friends and I was like, hey, this guy from ClinRun's coming on. Like, what do you think? And someone did mention like they had worked with ClinRun a couple of different times and on-time payments were a benefit. So you can toot your own horn as long as it's true. Let's
Yeah.
see what else we've got. All right. Okay. So I get the pitch. I read your website copy. I'm the CRO sponsor perspective. Like we got this portal. It's all in one. It's inclusive. Like we do the things. From a site perspective, why is a payment portal better than just emailing your invoice?
Yeah. I love this question, but I sort of think about it. I sort of challenge the question a little bit when we think about
Yes.
we think about better, right? I think what I've learned, I came in with some predisposed biases around this whole process more efficient. And one of those was, hey, why don't people just log in and self-service within the portal? Um, I think the reality, if you look at the landscape of clinical research sites, is there's just a huge delta in terms of based on region on the willingness to log into a portal to begin with. In some countries, there is zero willingness to go do that at all, where email is the only option. So there's some preference, right? If you think about a smaller accounts receivable department, right? This isn't somebody that's going to log into 7 different portals across 7 different sponsors or CROs. And then you've got larger groups that are more than happy to log into a portal, and they get some of the operational efficiency around getting paid on time and that you get from logging into something like that. As I've gotten smarter, again, been in the industry, about a year and a half. What I've learned is that the real better is removing that underlying problem, right? Which is making it easy for sites to understand, where their payment is, what state of processing it is. To the extent that they need to get something to the sponsor or CRO, like an invoice, we make that as easy as possible. And then from the CRO and sponsor perspective, that we don't add a bunch of operational burden there. And so kind of going back to your original question, the way that we've started to handle the problem is we started saying the phrase, we meet the sites where they are. So sites that want to log into a portal to self-service, right, where they can see their remittance, they can upload their invoice manually. We provide that option. For those that can't, rather than continue to push them into something that might feel unnatural, we've really been focusing on developing tools that make that a no-op for the sponsor and CRO. So if they want to email something, that's historically been a very laborious, labor-intensive, error-prone activity. We've developed some AI technology that essentially will intercept that invoice through the email, download it, classify it, and put it into the system as if they'd entered that. And so we sort of feel like having kind of an omni-channel way to process that data is the right answer. And thus far, we've gotten really positive responses as we've been beta testing this feature.
Yeah, that sounds actually amazing. So you just said it's in beta, meaning like it's something you're hoping to roll out, but isn't the standard right now.
That's right. So we're running it internally. And so within LedgerRun, we have a group that is processing invoices on behalf of some of our smaller customers. We use LedgerRun on their behalf. We have a couple large sponsors that are currently beta testing this behind the scenes, but we're hoping to have this GA in the next 3 to 6 months.
That's awesome. I think yeah, just another like I'm not trying to like spring a gotcha on you, but I did like text a bunch of people and ask, and one of them was like, well, we said we didn't want to use a payment portal, and we were not allowed to be on the study because we didn't want to use the portal. And so it sounds like what you're talking about is the exact response to that. Okay, let us build something that works for what you want to do. I appreciate anyone who's kind of building in that direction, trying to make things fit for all comers. So that's really cool.
That's right.
Awesome. All right, we're going back. The wheels are spinning. Your answers are a winning. Oh, gross. I won't say that again. All right. So this is just, I'm asking everyone right now because I'm just so curious, like, not necessarily like, what are you logging into to accomplish your LedgerRun, like mandated? I don't know if you guys are one of those burn X amount of tokens a day or you get fired companies,
Yeah.
but what are you doing in your day-to-day life? Like what AI are you opening and how are you using it?
Yeah. That's a great question. I mean, obviously, there's kind of two lenses. One, in my sort of in my official capacity as CTO, we're doing a ton with code gen and incorporating into their product. But I like this question just around, how am I personally using it? I thought there was a pretty steep learning curve, to really get value out of AI on this year. I think everyone kind of started with, hey, I can run my emails through this and make them sound more professional. Or I can have this produce some slideware for me. And I think with some of the hallucinations and whatever else, the value there can be de minimis. But where I found a ton of value is using AI tools to sort of to give the AI a persona and ask it to critique my idea, kind of an adversarial approach. I found that to be really, really valuable. I think sometimes, I can get enamored with my own idea. I can get excited about something. Other people are enamored with my idea. I found it to be really helpful and has materially changed my thinking at times to take sort of an idea that I've been batting around that I'm really proud of, set a prompt to kind of, hey, take a skeptical approach to this and really beat up this idea and show me where the flaws in my, and then go through a couple iterations on that to kind of beat something up from which different sides. I've gone as far as to kind of create some of my own, agents that are constantly kind of around in an ephemeral way that, I've given sort of different personas to that critique and kind of push my work to make sure that I'm not falling into sort of any biased thought patterns, which I've just found to be incredibly useful. And anybody that will, listen to me while I'm or something, I'll give them that sort of tidbit.
That like no notes. I also use AI as a troll bot. And I probably don't have as many sophisticated ways of saying it as you, but that is, I mean, the sycophancy problem is like well documented. Like, oh, Patrick, great idea. Like, are you the smartest human? Because from here it looks like you are. If you can specifically combat that and not just say like, hey, don't glaze me up, but like look for the flaws. And you said maybe you have a couple running, so like different personas. Like I tend to try and get my ideas critiqued because I don't have experience outside of really working as a vendor in the patient recruitment space. I'll say like think like a research sponsor or think like a research site and approach this skeptically and 100%. It sharpens your thinking, and there's a lot of writing about the cognitive debt that AI is producing. Like, if you can use it to sharpen your thinking, it's the exact opposite. You're not suffering that like, oh, I'm outsourcing my thinking. I'm actually using it. Oh, so good, so good. Great answer.
Awesome.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to share this from the mountaintops. Okay, great. We are cruising here, and let's see. Okay. So you and the engineers at ClinRun are building. What's something you guys thought was going to be really challenging, and then you like cracked it open, and we're just like, oh, well, that was actually kind of straightforward.
Yeah, it's another great question, and I think it ties into what I was talking about a little bit earlier with the ingestion that we were working through, because it was our first real kind of external agentic tool that we built, right? And there was a lot of thinking around. We have a lot of pressure, obviously, to be innovating with AI. And there's a multitude of ways to kind of think about, how you introduce AI, whether that's like a co-pilot or you build it inside of the inside of the application, you automate flows, you create a bot, you create agents. And I think one of the things that we thought was going to be really hard, our mandate has been how can we reduce the operational burden while keeping humans in the loop where it matters. And we're really struggling with this idea of how you in a highly regulated industry with strict validation rules and business logic, how do you program AI to exist in that world without kind of breaking the down the trust and the auditability and whatever else. And I think kind of early on as we were developing this, I think it was more I think it was maybe more luck than anything else. As we were kind of pitching ideas around, we stumbled across this concept of let's not build our AI, our agentic AI flows in the software conceptually. Let's think about designing agentic AI flows that work like people against the software. And from that, it's kind of evolved into this, LedgerRun, our software, is a system of record, which is really important. It has validation in rules and validations and you can trust it, auditability, all those things, right? Let's not mess with that. Let's keep that the way that it is. It's trusted. But then let's start to script out agents and agentic flows that work on that system of record as if they are the people that are using the software. And so we kind of, we still have this concept, but we sort of thought about that as like, that's our system of action. And I think by us kind of having that dichotomy as we went about this, it made what we thought was going to be like a really hard problem around like, okay, how do we know like how far the AI can go? When does the AI ask for help? Or when does a human oversight have to happen? Or how should this thing work? It really turned into like, hey, we know people everywhere that do this every day. Let's just understand how they work. We'll introduce, MCP as an interface where these agents can talk to the software. And then, we'll prompt them, or we'll with prompt engineering, kind of get them to a place where they roughly just kind of do the thing that a human being would do, and doing so, I think made this process surprisingly easy, and we got some really incredible results with that. Again, we really just separated the concept of the AI acts on the software. You keep building your software, and you teach the agent how to be the best clinical ops professional that you can, and you allow the software to keep sort of the guardrails and the rules in place. And so we were really surprised at how easy that part of it ended up being, given where we started.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it sounds like there are probably a lot of high fives around the office.
Absolutely.
Let me just flip the script really quickly. Is there anything that you guys you were cracking your knuckles? You're like, it's 3:00 on a Friday afternoon. We're just going to bang this out before the weekend because you thought it was going to be easy. Maybe not that easy, but and it turned out to be messier than you thought.
Yeah. Same thing on the AI front. It's just been top of mind. We really struggled with sort of the paradigm shift between writing deterministic code and then doing something that's probabilistic in AI, right? And so, kind of the funny story, we were really proud of this agentic flow we built. We had a company demo. We had run through thousands of regressions against this agent that was for the first time able to take like an invoice from email, and it parsed all the pieces and put it into ClinRun, and we're high-fiving each other. And the inputs and the outputs were exactly the same in front of all the employees of LedgerRun. We just start getting errors. Failed. This thing failed to do the thing that it was supposed to. And I think that's where we learned a really hard lesson around these probabilistic coding paradigms, which is it's not just about the code and the prompts anymore. It really becomes about like understanding the behavior, tweaking the behavior, building evals. We mentioned it a second ago. You can't have one LLM necessarily check the work of itself. You need another one to do that from sort of an antagonistic perspective. And so that has been a big learning curve. And since then, I think the two kind of complement each other. On one hand, we were just really surprised at how easy it was to kind of automate these agentic flows and get really positive results. But the thing that made that really, really powerful in terms of being able to reason about how to call MCP and how to do certain things, sometimes it decides that it's not going to match two lab names because just the way that the LLM was designed is going to handle that differently from day one to day two. So that's been something we've been spending a lot of time building guardrails around since.
Yeah, the little things sometimes surprising. All right, cool. Thanks. Those were really comprehensive answers, and I appreciate it. I'm barely standing on my tiptoes to keep my head above water technologically. So thank you for. I assume you're dumbing things down, and I appreciate it. The last question. Okay, this would be fine. You kind of mentioned this with like the global thing, but if there's anything else coming into the research industry from a technological perspective, are there any assumptions you carried that didn't survive contact with reality?
Yeah, that's a really good. That's a really good question. Yeah, I think I've been humbled. I think I've been humbled quite a few times with sort of the first question that you asked me. Around. I think I came into I came to LedgerRun because I was really excited about the opportunity. I really liked the focus in the niche space, and I felt like there was going to be an opportunity to focus. I thought with focus, with sustained focus in sort of this area of something that could be pretty simple, that we'd come in here in the first year or so, and we would solve all of these problems. I think the thing that has been really surprising to me is just the amount of complexity surrounding not only the different locations, sending money across borders and working across all these different areas, but just the complexity between all the different different sort of folks involved, right? And something as simple as hey, why can't a site just log into a portal and go do this thing, right? This would make it so much easier. I think it's really easy, selling software to sponsors and CROs to kind of fall in love with that perspective of like, yeah, if they just did that, this would be a really easy thing. And then you understand the site perspective, running clinical trials across a huge myriad of different sponsors and CROs, and just how complex that can be. And so I think it didn't survive for me, as I had to kind of reset my expectations on there be a whole lot of silver bullet solutions for this industry. It's going to be a series of lead bullets, of which I think we've talked about some of those things. But yeah, I think it's I think it's just the overwhelming amount of complexity in an area that just hasn't received a lot of historic investment from a technological perspective, and chipping away at that has been really interesting for me.
Totally. Appreciate that. All right, we are coming close to the end here. We may not get through all of them. Okay. What meal are you eating when your internal status report reads, "I've given up for today"?
That's a great question.
Don't think about it hard. Just say the first thing.
I'm probably not eating. I'm probably drinking. But if I'm eating, yeah, I think it would be like a homemade lemon risotto, I think.
if you've given up for the day, all right, man, I'm coming to your house. If giving up for the day is homemade lemon risotto, I would hate to see what is going on a good day at the Mizer household. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever attempted a risotto that has worked in my life. All right, good game. That was a quick one. Thankfully, I think we're going to be able to get through the last. There's one fun one and one actual question. All right.
Yeah.
This is probably reductive, and like you're going to be even mad that I'm asking it. But can you tell me something the AI is doing behind the scenes at LedgerRun that just straight up could not be accomplished by like a really thorough set of if-then rules or like Boolean logic?
I love this question. And we just had an example of this that was really cool. It was one of those moments that we all kind of looked at each other and were like, "Oh, this is going to be a real game changer." So throughout our testing of the invoice ingestion project, we were playing with multi-language. So we had a Polish invoice come in. No one speaks Polish, so we didn't recognize that the invoice didn't come in with a protocol ID. And we had this agent that we had built, probabilistic agent, right? If we would have done this with a series of if-then and built this in a deterministic way, right, we could have done the same thing. Pull up the components of the invoice, say that there's no protocol ID, and fail, and that's what you would expect, right? What was really neat was that this agent that we put into place, again, talking to LedgerRun through MCP, actually asked questions that a human being would ask, right? It was like, hey, I don't have. But how many protocols do I have that have a Polish site? Oh, there's only 2? Okay, well, just show me the protocol activity on this. Hey, these match. I'm pretty sure this is actually the invoice. And so I just thought that was really cool, right? Because I mean, there's so much hype around AI and on both sides, right? And I think the answer is going to be somewhere in the middle. But there's something really special about these probabilistic models that will that could you code that corner case? Absolutely. But the fact that you don't have to, and these things start to approximate human behavior, I just think is incredibly powerful. And that came to mind when I saw that question. This just happened a couple of weeks ago.
That sounds awesome, and 100% is like a perfect example. I mean, it's the difference between the ball keeps rolling or it stops, and like someone has to figure out what's broken and where and how to solve it. That's really cool. All right, we are rounding out, and this will probably be a short one, although I don't know you that well, so I'm very interested to hear your answer. Unless you're a classic CTO and you've never left your coding cave for the last year. What was the last ticketed event you went to? So not necessarily like for work or anything, but something where you just had to pay to get in. Could be movie, concert, live theater, whatever.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. So I'm a huge San Antonio Spurs fan. So my last ticketed event was to go see the Spurs play. Didn't get to see them in the playoffs this year, unfortunately, but they play a couple games in Austin. So I took my 8-year-old son to go see Wimby and team. That was my last ticketed
that's
event.
incredible. My wife is a lifelong New York Knicks fan, so she busted out her like vintage Patrick Ewing jersey for every game. And I've been following the Spurs all season, so I was like rooting for them. I live in Orlando. We have a team, but they're very bad. Sorry if you are an Orlando Magic fan. So it was just such a brutal series to watch. I'm sure your 8-year-old is like, has he sworn off sports, or is he like, next year, Dad?
He felt his first heartbreak, and I said, "Hey, you've got a lot more of this. So you're only 8 years old. It's better that you see it early." But I will say that I couldn't have anything negative to say about the Knicks players. They're a great group. So
yeah, I wanted to hate them, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Same.
oh, good job, guys. All right,
better
awesome.
team won.
Yeah, Patrick, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Any last like shout outs, call outs, anything for you?
Just really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me on, Steve, and I will accept your LinkedIn invite.
All right, thank you so much. All right, until next time, cheers, man.
All right.
Thanks for listening to 30 Minutes Randomized. If you enjoyed the show, please feel free to like, subscribe, review, or share it with a friend. Until next time, I'm your host, Steve Wimmer, reminding you to stay random.